Since obviously COVID-19, there's been loads of events that have been cancelled from the UFC. Obviously, Dana White was thinking of actually getting an island together so that you can actually start putting events on. And obviously, what's happened with ESPN and Disney cancelling that particular show on the island with UFC 249. One question that's been plaguing my mind is I've just been wondering when these shows do indefinitely start to go on, obviously after we get past this COVID-19 lockdown, I'm just wondering when we do come back, is Tony Ferguson going to fight Justin Gaethje, or is he going to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov? Now, in my opinion, I think it's likely because the main fight that was going to happen was Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. After this lockdown is over, after like let's just hope it ends in a couple of months. After this lockdown is over, I believe that it's finally hopefully going to happen. Obviously, Khabib needs to get past Ramadan because he's a Muslim, but I believe the Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov fight is going to hopefully happen after the sixth try. But one thing that I've been thinking about, obviously the Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson fight is one of the most important fights in UFC lightweight history, and it has to happen. The fact that the UFC at this point is going to be attempting the sixth time to make this happen just shows how important this fight is. Both of them are on a 12 fight winning streak, and obviously they're both seen as two of the best lightweights in the world, especially Khabib. So that fight does have to happen. But I'm just saying, purely from a fan-friendly, stylistic point of view, I actually think the Justin Gaethje versus Ferguson fight might be more exciting than the Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson fight. The reason for that is obviously styles. Justin Gaethje is one of them fighters that just likes to fight. He just likes to let his hands go. He doesn't move his head as much, and even though he's got a wrestling background, he doesn't like to grapple as much. He just likes to strike. And obviously, Tony Ferguson is known to be a reckless street fighter. He likes to let his hands go and just fight as well. So I actually think the Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson fight, if it was to happen, would actually be a more exciting fight than Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. The reason for that is Khabib Nurmagomedov's style is to actually grapple and get you up to the cage and actually get you into submission hold and actually grapple with you and ground and pound you. And obviously, Tony Ferguson does have an answer for that. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is very good from the bottom in terms of hitting you with elbows and such. But I actually think from a stylistic point of view, I would actually prefer to watch the Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson match. Obviously, I do want to see the Khabib versus Khabib versus Tony Ferguson match because I want to find out who's the best lightweight on the planet, and it's a fight that needs to happen. But if the Justin Gaethje fight with Tony Ferguson was to happen, I actually wouldn't be mad about that fight happening because I'd just love to see the spectacle. I think it'll be a great fight. So I'm actually hoping when action does resume as normal that the UFC do try to make the Tony Ferguson versus Gaethje fight because it'll give there's a couple of reasons for this. The main reason is that I think stylistically it'll be a very exciting fight, but not only that, it'll give Tony Ferguson a chance to make £500,000 when he headlines the event. And on top of that, if he wins the fight, let's hope he does, so we get to see Khabib versus Ferguson. But if he does win the particular fight, he's going to get pay-per-view points on that particular event because he's going to have the interim title that he won before. Technically, if you're a title holder in the UFC card, then you do get pay-per-view points as well. So previously, if you would have fought Khabib without the actual interim title, then he would not have got pay-per-view points on that particular event. So he would have got pay-per-view points if he beats Gaethje, and obviously he gets a second payday. He was going to get 500,000 for that particular fight. Then when he fights Khabib, he's obviously going to get another 500,000 plus pay-per-view on top of that. So like in terms of Khabib, in terms of Ferguson, it makes sense to take the Justin Gaethje fight before he fights Khabib. But I think that fight might have just fallen through because obviously they're going to postpone it. And if they postpone it, they're going to try to make the original fight that was meant to happen, which was Khabib versus Ferguson. So it's kind of sad that we're not going to get to see Ferguson versus Gaethje. But honest to God, one of the things that was going for Ferguson in this particular fight is that he's obviously been training a full training camp while Justin Gaethje was plucked from obscurity and was going to be given this fight because Khabib pulled out. if there was a full camp with Justin Gaethje and Khabib, not Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson, then I think that makes it more of a 50-50 fight. And if that fight was to happen, then it could spell doom for the Khabib versus Ferguson fight, because of Tony Ferguson's recklessness. He doesn't have the best defense. It could be likely that Justin Gaethje clips him and he gets injured, or he just knocks him out, man. Obviously, like, Tony Ferguson is a very tough guy, and he's come back from knockdowns before. But Justin Gaethje has punching power. So if he had a full training camp, I think that fight is very intriguing. So I think stylistically, Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson is stylistically a more exciting fight than Khabib versus Ferguson. However, Khabib versus Ferguson is probably one of the most important fights in UFC history, and the fact that it was meant to happen 5 times before, and it's still going to be tried. The UFC going to try making it again just shows how anticipated and how much they want this particular fight to happen. And it is probably one of the most anticipated fights in UFC history that does need to happen. So, either way, if Khabib versus Ferguson gets made, or if Justin Gaethje versus Ferguson gets made, preferably I'd like to see Justin Gaethje fight Ferguson. Then after that, we could watch the Khabib versus Ferguson fight. If Ferguson actually beats Gaethje, I'd prefer that to happen, and it makes sense for that to happen in terms of Ferguson, because he's going to get twice the money. He's going to get interim belt holder status, so he can get pay-per-view points for the pay-per-view fight, blockbuster fight against Khabib. So each time this fight is about to happen, the fight just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. Tell me your thoughts below, and obviously actually subscribe to this channel, like this video, and subscribe to this channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.